Hey everyone, Andre here, along with Steve and Amy to discuss 1 month of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Guys, can you believe it's been 1 month already?
I know, I can't believe it. It's so crazy. It went so fast.
It did.
It feels like it's both been a short amount of time and an extremely long amount of time, because I like to leave my house, and I haven't been doing that a lot lately.
Wait, are you talking in real life or in Animal Crossing? Because you know the door is just down there, right, Steve?
You know what? I spend an inordinate time in my house in Animal Crossing now too. Like I think my obsession has shifted to decorating the interior of my home. Mm-hmm. So like I leave, go find new things, and then I go back and try to reorganize my house.
Oh man, I'm totally the opposite because I'm stuck inside all the time. I want to go out and adventure and go to the islands and be in the trees and all that.
Be in the trees. I like this.
well like, you know, in the woods, whatever.
My entire forest up until recently, or my entire forest, I just gave it away. My entire island up until recently was like just an insanely dense forest because I kept planting money trees, but I would never cut them down, so I had more trees by the day. But finally, one of our fans got like sick of it, and she was just like, "Hey, let me into your island. Give me a couple hours. I'll clean it up for you." And sure enough, she did. She cleaned out everything and made it much more manageable.
Wow.
So as I said, this has been 1 month of Animal Crossing. The game came out on March 20th. Now, for Steve and I, though, technically it's actually been a little bit longer since we had access to the review copy of the game. We were, I think, for about 2.5 weeks beforehand. It's been a little bit more for us. However, in my case, I completely demolished my island when the game actually came out. I blew it up, started over, like I deleted it all and started fresh on a new file. So I re-experienced the beginning of the game for a second time, and I've actually been building out the island far more than I ever got in my first round. But how about you, Steve? What's been your experience since the review period?
Yeah, so I did about the same. I ended up starting a new island once the game released because I didn't want to be really far ahead of all my friends and everyone I was playing with.
Same here, yep.
And so, you know, because one of the things that people don't talk about a lot when we review games is that you never get to be part of the discussion once the game is out. Right. Like all your friends are experiencing it for the first time and you're like, yeah, I beat it, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Check out my video, friend. So given the social nature of this game, I really didn't want people coming to my island and being like, oh, you've already paid off your house. Oh, you have so many fish and bugs. I wanted to be there with them going through the same things. And during the review period, I had barely unlocked Island Designer. Like I got it maybe the night before I recorded the review. And so I didn't really mess with it that much. We made a video showing like how you can trash your island with it. And I did that knowing I was going to blow up the island later. I never went back and fixed it. I was like, bye island, I loved you. And it's gone. So yeah, I started over and it's been really fun to play it kind of contemporaneously with my friends that didn't have early access to it.
Right. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. That's partially why I blew up my island as well, but also because I started streaming it starting day one, or kind of day zero. I started on the 19th by downloading the Australian copy. And I thought it'd be way more fun just to start from the beginning so people can see how an island truly evolves. Because I guess in my own case, I wasn't that far now looking back, but I was still farther than I wanted to be. I wanted everyone to follow along and meet with me on my journey to see how the island can progress, over real time. So yeah, and as part of that too, I'm not time traveling. I've never been a fan of time traveling. I'm playing by the rules to the point where if someone gives me money in the game, I don't even use it. I feel like that's kind of cheating. I got to earn my own way around here. I got to earn my own keep. I got to pay everything with my own hard-earned bucks, my hard-earned bells. So I've been playing very, very anally. A little bit like how I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently, where I don't use a map and I walk everywhere. No teleporting. So I've got some weird, some weird ethics for games, I guess. Some weird rules I've set up.
Just putting some more extra challenges on yourself.
That's it, exactly. But you know what? I have to say, after a month, I'm curious to hear your impressions too, Steve. Well, I guess first off, real quick, have you been playing every day, Steve?
Yeah, I haven't stopped. I signed in at least, for an hour or so every day and just check in on how everything's going.
And how about you, Amy?
Well, I was sick for a while, so other than that period of time, yeah, I play about an hour a day. But when I was sick, I was just not able to really log in at all. And I will say that I did time travel backwards because of that, because I missed like a full week. And I didn't want to miss out on all the cherry blossoms, so I actually did time travel backwards.
So are you still a week behind everyone? Or
I've caught up a little bit. I've tried to cut a speed run forward so I could catch up to everybody. Nice. But yeah, I'm still I think 4 days behind actual date.
All right. So yeah, for me, now that we're 30 days out, I'm actually surprised by how much fun I'm having still, and I think that's for one big reason, because unlike every past Animal Crossing game, I don't have a daily routine. Like, it's switching up constantly. Like, I'm always engaging in new activities. And I think that's for two main reasons. One, I think crafting really changes a game here, where I'm looking for materials, and then also unlocking the island designer is a literal game changer. As I said, you're going from a mayor to a god, and you can just completely transform your landscape. And I've been doing that slowly, but it is rewarding when you see the thing you want to make start coming together. And so I found the biggest advantage to me in this game, in a macro sense, is that I don't have a routine. I'm finding new things to do still after a month, and that's impressive. Whereas in New Leaf, I'm pretty sure I was already burning out by this point. But what's your guys' take on this?
Yeah, I totally agree, because the same thing happened to me. After about a month, I had a pretty predictable routine, and it did get a little bit repetitive and all that. But everything growing, even in New Leaf for me, like the town evolving, I think I still wasn't done after a month, so I think I lasted a little bit longer before I got to that really repetitive state, to where everything was kind of done, everything was unlocked. I felt like there wasn't too much more I could do to change the island around, or the town around in that point. So I feel like, yeah, I feel very similar to what you were saying. I like to watch how the island evolves. That's so satisfying. Like, especially if you have this grand plan and you just put it together piece by piece, it's really like a huge accomplishment when it actually is there.
For me, I'm kind of more leaning towards what Andre was saying, in that I don't really have a set routine yet, which is remarkable considering. I mean, think about playing any game for close to 45 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And think about still having new stuff to do. Like, that's almost unheard of, especially when you're talking about Nintendo first-party games. That is literally unheard of. What I think works for me so well about New Horizons is that I feel like they pared away a bunch of the stuff that I don't want to say I didn't like, but that kind of got me into more of a repetitious behavior with previous Animal Crossing games.
I totally agree.
I would say before this, my favorite game was just the original Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
because it was free of what I would consider to be extraneous distractions. And I feel like they almost they pared away enough to where it doesn't feel overly complex. There's not too much to check in with every single day, but there is enough variety in the things you can do. So, one day I'll decide, you know what, this is my day that I need to restock all my resources. I'm going to go get wood and, take down my fruit and look for stones and clay and iron nuggets and that kind of stuff. And other days I'll be like, I'm just gonna fish and catch bugs and try to make some money.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. So I don't find that any one day I'm like, okay, this is what I do this day, this is what I do this day, this is what I do. I just kind of look at what it is I feel I need to do, and then I do those things only. And then I'll log out.
It kind of feels like, it feels like they kind of flattened the entire experience. I mean that in a good way, where you always have like any number of options available to you at any given time. There's no like real hierarchy to how you want to do things beyond whichever one you may come up for yourself. But it just feels like there's a lot you can do at any given moment. And as you kind of touched on, I think that crafting is a huge part of that. Now it is opening up so many more options where you're no longer limited by the inventory like available in the store for that day or the Able Shop. You can now make, whatever you've collected, And
exactly.
and now that you're able to like decorate your island too, that by placing actual objects in the environment, it completely transforms what exactly you engage with in the game now, because it's no longer just your house you're confined to. Now it's the entire island, which you could do to some extent before, but like modifying cutting down trees or moving them around or planting flowers. But they've taken it to the next level here, where I'm able to, hopefully someday, I'm working on it, make an actual theme park in my island. Like, you could not do that in previous games.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love how you can switch your focus around based on the day. Like, I still feel like I do have a somewhat routine, because I do like to look for the fossils every day, and I do like to look for new bottles on the beach, stuff like that. But then after that's done, and also checking the ABD machine for the
points,
miles bonus, yeah. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of, what's today going to hold? Is it raining? Is it not? Am I going to go to islands? Am I going to hang out with friends? There's there's so many ways that you can spend that focus, and I think that does help keep it really fresh.
There's so many ways I get distracted constantly. Like, I'm like the dog from Up. Like, oh, shiny object or squirrel. And then I go running off to it, and I totally forgot what I was going to do originally.
That's kind of
same
here.
Yeah, it's like a testament to the game that I don't mind it when that happens, because it's such a chill game anyway. It's like, I'm not really missing out on anything. I just have a very windy route to get to where I eventually want to go.
Yeah, I do like that, because even if you do forget something, it's not like you missed out on it forever. Except I do feel that way on the Cherry Blossom Festival, which is why I time traveled. But those are supposed to be time-sensitive events, so it makes sense.
Yeah, speaking of those seasonal events, I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't like them.
But you mean specifically Bunny Day, right?
Yeah, you mean Bunny Day.
I mean Bunny Day, yeah. The Cherry Blossom stuff wasn't so bad.
I didn't even realize that was an event until
I'm not sure if it counts as an event or if it's just like a season. I'm not sure what the technical term would be.
Yeah, I feel like I'd probably call it a seasonal event or something like that. I mean, because it is tied to the beginning of spring, and that's it. But the thing I don't like is they mashed it together with Bunny Day.
Yeah.
So that you have competing focus. So now, during those events, it kind of changed how I felt I needed to play the game. Not that I'm a completionist by any stretch, but I'm being told, ooh, you're going to get a cool reward if you get all the Bunny Day stuff and craft it. And so now I feel like, oh crap, I got to find all these eggs and make all this stuff that I don't want. I didn't look at any single piece of the Bunny Day stuff and say, wow, I got to have this. But they told me there was a secret reward, and I'm like, well, I got to know what that is. So I'm going to make all this crap that I don't need and offload it on my villagers once I'm done. So all of my villagers have one tacky piece of Bunny Day furniture in their homes.
That is a really good point, though, because I would not have time traveled if it wasn't for the cherry blossoms, because I didn't want to miss out on that, because I knew that it was going to be a whole other year before I could experience that again. So I see what you're saying, because it does kind of put a different sort of pressure on what you want to do throughout that time. Bunny Day lasted longer than the cherry blossom thing, I think, so that didn't feel as overbearing to me.
Bunny Day lasted a few extra days, like I think 2 or 3 extra days. But I wish the game would have told you, like, hey, this is these cherry blossoms are super important too. I feel like they beat you over the head with Bunny Day recipes, but the cherry blossom recipes were really hard to get by comparison.
Yeah, I felt that way as well, because I have way more Bunny Day recipes than cherry blossom ones. And I like the cherry blossom ones more, so I wanted to find them.
Right, yeah.
The Bunny Day holiday lasted almost half of the past month. It was almost half the month that we had access to the game, which is wild.
So many eggs.
So many. That's the worst part about it, right? Is that you can't choose not to engage with it, because those eggs are popping up constantly, which interfere with the rusty. Well, 2 things: the actual materials you want, and these stupid eggs are consuming inventory space. 6 different slots with 6 different eggs, and the inventory in this game, I'll just come out and say it, is a complete mess. I hate how the inventory works. They need to add an auto sort option, because my inventory is, as if you see my streams, it's always a disaster, and I'm running out of space constantly, even with the 4 rows. And the Bunny Day activity didn't help, especially with the fact that it came out so early into the game's lifespan. I feel sorry for anyone who picked up the game, like my mom, a few days before the festival began, and now she's was inundated with eggs until they finally dialed it back a bit with the patch. But yeah, so I think they should fix the inventory. Well, they should fix events and fix the inventory. Because if every event is like Bunny Day, I'm not going to look forward to engaging with them. Because it was fun in the previous Animal Crossings, as I recall, most of the events were like a single day event, a single day holiday. And, it was just like a cool little thing you go check out, like maybe play a little mini game or whatever it was. You see the villagers like dressed up on Halloween or whatever they call it now. And it was just a cool thing, like it wasn't a whole 2-week-long activity, and I'm concerned for what it means for the future, because I think Bunny Day had potential to be neat if there were, say, like a set amount of eggs you had to find, but having an infinite amount of eggs thrown at you while you're trying to do other stuff in the game is just frustrating.
Yeah, it would have even been a little bit more manageable if it was just a weekend, or maybe handled more like the fishing tournaments, where it's just a very small amount of time that you could focus on it. So I definitely agree with you on that too.
I want to go back to one thing you were talking about, Andre, and that's your inventory. I mentioned this in the review, seemingly ages ago at this point, but There's a weird thing about Animal Crossing New Horizons, specifically New Horizons, in that there are parts of the game that feel like Nintendo nailed it. Like they got feedback from players and made things better. And there are parts, and specifically parts that are new to the game, that feel like they just dusted off the 2001 design document and were like, that's how we make a menu in this game. That's how we do branching dialogue. This is how we handle inventory. And they're just stuck in time. And it's almost like this perfect analogy for how Nintendo decides things in general. They do some incredibly brilliant things at times, and then there are just boneheaded moves thrown in there that should have been frustrating to even like their lowest level playtesters.
Right.
So there's things that just have me scratching my head, like how did this make it through QA and multiple layers of decision making? Specifically to what Amy was talking about, the fishing tournament. Talking to CJ was a nightmare. Just getting to the point where you could get the swag from him was awful. You had to go through 3 different dialogues every single time you wanted something.
Right, they hide the options from you. He doesn't even tell you how you get to the point you want. You just have to explore the menu tree or the dialogue tree to find the exact option. And I would say that's probably even more the case, or maybe not more the case, but it frustrates me even more with the airport, because I'm going to that stupid thing constantly.
Airport, yes.
I have to, open the gate or, invite someone to my town, and it's like everything's like 5 menus deep, and if you screw up, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and restart the dialogue.
Yeah.
and everything. So the online experience, when it actually, when you're actually engaged with it, minus all the menu stuff, is awesome. It works for the most part pretty darn well. It's a setup process that sucks and really just makes me not want to engage with it as much as I would like to, because opening the gate takes forever, finding someone's town takes forever, having people visit your town takes forever.
And if there's one problem, start all over.
Yep, start over. You lose any progress you made too. It'll revert back to the last save point. It is so I lost a KK song because I invited a bunch of GameXplain fans to my town for a KK concert, which is awesome. I love how that works, but it took like 20 minutes to get everyone into town, and then when someone disconnected, I lost the KK song that had been saved, that KK was going to award me with, so I had to redo that. So that's frustrating.
It's really frustrating. That's on one of the things that I really want them to improve. That whole integration of people coming and going especially is just, it's so frustrating.
It's tedious,
I know they can do a better job with that. So many other games have a drop-in, drop-out system, and there's got to be a way they can make that better. And like you, I hate talking to the guy at the airport. Like, just let me choose what I want to choose, and if I mess up, can I just go back one step and not have to redo the whole thing?
Here's a real irony of this. You have a Nook phone. Nook makes a big deal about giving you a Nook phone. You never use it as a phone. You never once use it as a phone. I don't understand. Why can't I call up Orville at Dodo Airlines and be like, yo, Dodo, open the gates.
Exactly, open the gates.
Yeah, or shut it remotely. I don't understand why you can't call people in this.
You can kick everyone out by pressing the minus button, I think. So, but
as one.
Yeah, they should definitely have that phone more useful for that kind of stuff.
I've seen like several fan mock-ups of incredibly simple suggestions on how to improve the UI in this game, and they're all great. Like somebody proposed a wallet that would hold things like bells or seasonal items, things that clutter up your inventory, all your tools being in a separate spot, all those things make sense. I saw a mock-up of a Dodo Airlines menu where they just had all the options on one, and it was only like 6 options once they displayed it like that. I was like, did no one at Nintendo think maybe let's just throw all the stuff you would want to do right up front?
Right? It's not going to confuse anyone. Yeah.
Right. And another thing that drives me insane is, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't invite people to my island a bunch because I'm still working on it, but setting a dodo code, like you have to screenshot it and then remember it, because there's no way to get it once you've opened the gate.
You can actually talk to them again. You can say, like, one of the options after you've created a dodo code is to say, I forgot the code, and he'll tell you again.
That's good.
Oh, okay.
But I wish that it was like in the bottom of your screen or
in your app, in your Nook phone again. Exactly. Yeah.
Pull up your phone, have it on your phone.
There should be an airport app. It gives you access to that code. You can use it to remotely open and shut the gate. So I'm hoping this is all stuff that they'll iron out in patches, because for as much as I am enjoying this game, these issues do chip away at the experience, and that's increasingly so by the day. I'm so tired of going to Orville, dealing with all this stuff, for instance. I'll put up with it because the rest of the game makes it worthwhile, but they can definitely improve it. I want to see more apps, things that streamline the experience. For instance, when you're in your house, you should be able, when you craft, you should have access to all your stored materials. I shouldn't have to pull them out, put them in my inventory in order to craft things. Also, why did clams take up single spots each? I don't understand this.
I know, why can't you stack the clams?
I don't make fishing bait because of that. It's just so annoying to have to, oh no, I've got 3 clams, better go make bait out of those boys.
One at a time too. You can't set up a process.
And the best part is the bait stacks. So the things that the clams turn into stacks in your inventory.
That's hilarious. I guess, it maybe because it's in a bag, so you just need a clam bag you can then store everything.
I guess that's what they're thinking.
If the backpacks you wore actually added inventory space.
I thought they would when I first got a backpack.
Or even, that could have been one solution for the Easter problem, is maybe you had an Easter basket and keep all the eggs in. Exactly.
That's such a good idea.
Right? I thought they would do that, but they didn't. So yeah, there's so many ways they can improve the experience, which I hope they're working on, because they definitely should streamline it before people start burning out on some of those more tedious elements of the game.
One of the other things I really wanted them to do was some way to invite specific friends, like Switch friends. Like there was some kind of way that you could pick out people that you wanted to come over and send them like, hey, the gates are open, but just tell those people so they can come over. That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to just open it to everyone.
I'd like a way to add best friends without having played with them first.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
Because when I got the game, I told all my friends, like, oh, we got to be best friends so I can send you stuff in the mail, blah, blah, blah. And then I find out I have to go visit every single person before I can do that. I'm like, I know Andre in real life. It's okay.
Yeah,
I feel like if anyone's on your friend list especially, they should just be able to mail you whatever. Maybe they can't set up, like, if Nintendo wants to be really careful, like maybe make it so they can't send you a custom message, so they can't like cuss you out or something. But have it so they can send you like a generic message along with a gift, for instance. There's a lot they can do to kind of refine this. And also, this is a super small nitpick. I miss Pete the Pelican. I miss him delivering mail, it weirds me that they treat mail as more like email, where it just instantly appears. Whereas I kind of wish there was like maybe a small delay and see Pete come down and like pop it in there, so.
That would be cool. Yeah. I miss him too.
It just takes a little bit of personality away from it, and I do miss that.
So actually, speaking of missing things, we probably should touch on real quick. I know it sounds like we're like ragging on the game a little bit now, but we're just talking about things that they can do to improve it. And one thing that I've seen a lot of people kind of like be remiss over is the fact that they are missing some things that were in previous games, like a lot of shops, partially because some have been combined with others, or they're just missing entirely, such as like Brewster and the Roost, being the cafe that would be open after hours. And we're missing like Red so far, selling his counterfeit art.
I do miss him.
There's no art exhibit in the museum, period. Not yet, at least. There has been some hints toward this with dialogue in the game that villagers will say that reference these characters, and it's not entirely clear if they're referencing cut content or if they're teasing upcoming content. But I'm hoping it's the latter, because we definitely could start using more things, because I think most of us by now have reached where we have most of the things in the game, like most of the hard unlocks, minus the Nook expansion, which will be the next big one for most people. But once we get that, there isn't a whole lot else on the horizon. So I would love if they added more stuff, and especially something to do at night. I think the Roost has to be number 1 on the list, because if you're playing at night, the Abel's shop is closed, Nook's cranny is closed, and some of your villagers are sleeping. There's not a whole lot to do necessarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys have any other things you'd like to see come back in the game?
Those things that you mentioned, definitely, especially having a nightlife, because I do play a lot at night, and it's kind of depressing to just log on and everyone's asleep and the shops are all closed. So that would be, I like that idea a lot. I thought that maybe they would have that come up later. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, it feels like it should happen because it was so appreciated in the last game. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to be one of those updates. Maybe it's a seasonal thing. I don't know. I feel like it's coming. That's why I haven't been too upset. But I really hope they do come. I especially miss Red. He was so much fun.
Yeah, he's a great personality, especially if you watched our recent video on Tom Nook. We went into some of the history of Red 2, like his real life origins, and how it kind of complements Tom Nook's perfectly. So yeah, it would be nice to have Red back, kind of like a more sinister version of Tom Nook, really.
Yeah.
And that's saying
something. For me, I'm missing red. But I think the biggest thing I'm missing from previous entries is the island tours.
Cap'n.
Yeah, with Cap'n. So you used to be able to go on these island tours, and then you had multiplayer mini games that you could play on those during those tours, and that's really the component that I miss, because I think more than most entries in the series, people are embracing the multiplayer aspect of New Horizons.
Right.
But once you're on your friend's island, there isn't actually a ton to do. Like, you're just doing the same stuff in a different place.
Right.
So it would be really cool. Like, Andre, when we did that video with Dawn, we had that timer item that I found. And that's fun, but it's not really like a mini game. No. It's really just a way to gamify the things that you're already doing, catching fish, bugs, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I would love it if we had some kind of formalized mini game feature where we could go and actually play some social games together.
Yeah.
Either on our own islands or in some entirely different location. But I think that would be really cool to have.
Especially if someone dropped and it didn't disrupt the rest of the people that were on the island. That would be really a lot of fun.
Right. I would say New Horizons' biggest blind spot is the way it handles adding and dropping players. I think that is the biggest shortcoming the game has right now, and it's something they should look into fixing, because I can't imagine it's undoable. Like, I would accept certain compromises in order to not have to stop playing for people to join. Like, I'd be okay if performance briefly dropped. I'd be okay if it got a little laggy here and there, because I would take that over just stopping what I'm doing, especially as you've told me in the past, Andre, like when you have an island that's just filling up because people are aware that someone they want to play with is there. I mean, you're stuck sometimes for 15, 20 minutes just watching loading screens.
There is a trick, kind of. I mean, so what I've been doing is when I've been visiting random islands from our chat, which means the codes are all there and people can just guess it sometimes which island I'm visiting, even though I cover up the input screen so no one can see exactly what I'm entering. But what I do now is I will visit the island, and as soon as I'm out of the airport, I'll go onto my phone. Because if you're on your phone in the game, no one else can visit. And during that time, I'll have the person who's on and I'm visiting go shut the gate. So it'll just be me and the host. And something else I would like to see online is I wish you could place objects. It's so annoying that you can't place objects in the game. But I will say, just to bring it back to a little bit of a positive note, the overall online experience, beyond what we've touched on, some of those issues, I really enjoy it. Like, there's nothing quite like Animal Crossing where you're all, even though there isn't like a whole lot to do necessarily, like built in a game-like way, it still feels really fun and neat just to like hang out, see people's towns. Like when I invited our fans to my KK concert, that was truly something special. We're just hanging around KK, listening to the music, just having a good time. Some people managed to like run around during the concert, just like hitting everyone with nets, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It was just like a really fun experience you can't have in any other game that I'm aware of, where doing nothing still feels like something, and that is something special. It's like the Seinfeld of games.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's got like this innocent, whimsical thing about it, because you can't really hurt
wholesome.
each other, but it is, that's a perfect word for it. It's wholesome. You can just have so much fun just being yourself and just running around and doing funny emotes and supporting each other when they catch fish, and I don't know, it's such a feel-good interaction type of deal. I love it.
It really is.
Yeah, and like you said, there is something really special about visiting your friends or even complete strangers' islands, because of the fact that the whole island is basically your canvas in this game.
Right.
It's not like you're looking at a randomly generated environment. You're looking at someone's creativity and effort, like something that they've made. And that's one of my favorite things about New Horizons is just you can see someone's dedication in just how they've put their island together, how they've decided to decorate the place, and everything has that person's unique thumbprint on it. And I had a friend who, well, I have a friend, but who recently moved away. Yeah, I know, right? It was about to get really dark.
Did they chop down all your trees?
No. So I have a friend who recently moved away. He used to live down the street. Now he lives all the way in Colorado, which, if you don't know where I'm from Arizona. And Animal Crossing was the first game we played together since he moved. And for those couple hours that I visited his island and we played, it felt like he was right there with me. Like, he had never left and things weren't different at all. Right. And it was really, in an odd way, especially during this time, it was really comforting to have that familiarity and to feel like I'm hanging out with a buddy that's, not so close anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So
magical.
there is something that's really special about Animal Crossing, and I think I posted a video even like where, because we were on Discord because Nintendo voice chat's terrible, but we were on Discord talking while we were playing, and I was complaining because Andre, you're probably familiar because we talked a lot during the review period, but my review island was wonderful for fishing. I could catch anything. Like I had a ton of rare fish from like day 2, I think. And my actual retail release island, my Australian copy, is awful. Like I never get any good fish. Like the mouth of my river almost never has fish in it. My dock or my pier almost never has fish on it. And I almost never find any rare fish. It's always sea bass. Like I'm all sea bass all day.
Sea bass.
C+.
And I was complaining about it to my friend when I was on his island, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I get oar fish all the time, blah blah blah." And he started taunting me constantly. Like every time I'm fishing, he'd whip out one of his oar fish.
No.
And so there's a video I posted on my Twitter where I'm actively in the process of catching a fish, which I'm assuming is a sea bass. And to make fun of me, he whips out his oar fish, and then suddenly I land a giant one of my own. And it was
Nice.
It was just such a fun moment. Like we both started busting up laughing, and I had to post the video on Twitter, even though nobody would understand it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's there's something just really special about moments like those that you can share with people in the game, because it's almost like there's this instant sense of connection. And, you know, we're doing a lot of criticism in this video or in this discussion, but the underlying core of this game is still excellent, and it's as fun to play now as it was, 40 days ago when we started.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost, in some respects, I'm almost having more fun than I did during the review period. I think playing with the community has a lot to do with that. Now that everyone has a game, we can engage, in trade or visiting, hanging out, having fun. So that's such a big part of the Animal Crossing experience, which is why we wish they would improve it further, because there's so much more they can do with it. Like something I would love to see, for instance, is I think a new way of maybe bringing back some of the missing elements, like some of the stores from past games, is I would love they added a mutual island, like a central island that if you go there, you just get grouped up with a random group of people, like random people from around the world, where you can go explore shops, hang out on this one island. So there'd be thousands of these islands. Like who knows whichever one you end up at, however many you need for the people going. But it'd be really neat if you see if you can go to this one, a central place, where you can see some other people from around the world that aren't on your friend list, and just kind of hang out together as you explore this, this town or city, wherever you want to end up making it. I think that could be really neat to go hang out at the roost together after hours, see random people come and go.
Yeah, that would be a ton of fun. I would love that. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would absolutely love to have an easier way to run into people that I don't already know. Because I think, one of the nice things about the Animal Crossing community is it's a lot less toxic than most.
It really seems to be, yeah.
I don't worry about running into jerks when I'm playing Animal Crossing, which is
to be
nice.
fair, though, that might be a function of how it currently works, where you pretty much know everyone you're seeing in the game,
that is
right?
True,
so that might be why. So maybe our experience will be different were the floodgates opened.
Now, I would push back against that. And the reason why is...
Are you familiar with the internet, Steve?
I am, but I've been playing with randoms a lot. And the way I've been doing that is there are a lot of I don't want to say black market, but unapproved methods of purchasing items. I was telling you, Andre, the other day about a website that I use called Nookazon, which is basically like Amazon, but for Animal Crossing goods, right? And you buy everything with in-game currency. It's not like people are doing shady stuff selling items for real world money. But, the only way to do that is they just facilitate you talking to a random player. Like they give you their Discord or their Twitter or something. And, I started looking because, like I said, I've been really obsessed lately with the interior of my home and finding things that I want. And so I've been messaging back and forth with lots of players like, oh, hey, you have this TV I'd really like. What can I give you? And everyone, without exception, has been incredibly friendly. I haven't been trolled by anybody. I haven't, found somebody where I look them up and they have a super offensive island name or anything. So I do have a little more faith in the random people in this community that I don't know than I probably would with most other games.
Mm-hmm.
I think just based on the style of game it is, most people that go after this kind of game are looking for that wholesome kind of escape from the real world. They want to have that kind villager, everybody helping each other out feel. So I think that does kind of put it on a slightly different level than your typical game.
Yeah, you're kind of touching on a larger point too there, Amy, where like the timing of this, and we've mentioned it before, of course, I mean, and we're not the first, but the timing of Animal Crossing literally could not have been better. It came out the best possible time where everyone's cooped up indoors, during the quarantine. And it's so refreshing to have this really wholesome community online game that you can engage with, and you don't even have to engage with the online community to have a great time in Animal Crossing, like an escape from the real world where you can go to this remote island. And it's so funny too because the game opens up with like the whole idea is you're visiting this deserted island. It's never been anything before. And the underlying context almost seems to be like you're trying to escape everyday life, right? You're going to this island, starting fresh, starting new. Mm-hmm. And that setting, even the setting alone, like any Animal Crossing would have been perfect for this time. The setting is so on point, it's frightening. It's almost like Nintendo foresaw what was going to happen. It's like, all right, we're going to delay this game in 3 months. Something's going to happen where we need to have this island escape game. And it just worked out perfectly. So yeah, and the fact that it's an evergreen title, like, that there's new stuff happening constantly, that people are still playing it a month later. This were any other AAA game. People have been done weeks ago. But people are still playing with it. It still feels fresh. And that's going to continue to be the case for the next few months, if not years.
Yeah, I'm still amazed by what I see on Twitter and what people have been sharing. Like, the online community's creativity is just so limitless, and the crazy stuff that everyone comes up with is so much fun, and it gives me my own inspiration. Like, okay, I got to make my island even better, and it just keeps like this upward spiral of creativity and inspiration. Yeah,
it causes me a little bit of stress sometimes. I see what people have created. I'm like, my God. Like, literally, I've probably visited dozens of islands now on my streams, and literally every single one's better than mine. I'm like, really?
That's true. I feel that way too. Mine feels so boring compared to what I see online. Yeah. But it's still mine. Like, I still made it. So I still do have a sense of pride and ownership over it. But yeah, I wish I could do something a little bit more creative.
Yeah, that's kind of slowly becoming my focus. Because John, the dude has an amazing island.
A 5-star island now. It's 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah, his is jealousy inducing. It's crazy looking. And I kind of started out, and I'm glad that this kind of proves what I was saying at the end of my review, was that, I'm going to get bit by a bug and design my island a certain way, and then probably by the time I get there, I'm going to change my mind and start over. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of exactly what happened with my Australian copy. Because this time going in, I knew about Island Designer. I knew about, how I would want to place houses and where roads would go and where I'd have a park and things like that. And by the time I finally got there on my retail copy, I realized, like, I don't like this at all. I want to change all this. So I literally spent the last day or so changing the course of the rivers on my island. I decided they were going to flow a different way. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't like where my houses are, so maybe I'll carve out this hillside and I'll put the houses over here. And so now I'm in the middle of that, and it's proving to be like a week-long project, because I'm going to move every single house, and you can only move one a day.
Right.
And you can only build I'm going to move my campsite, and
you can only build one staircase a day, one ramp a day.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. So it becomes like you end up having this large-scale plan that it's going to take you a lotot of time. And a lot of bells.
Yeah. I was about to say, where are you getting your money from?
Well,
playing the turnip market, yeah.
Yep. I think I took 1 million and turned it into 5.
Oh man.
Wow.
I got 2.5 last week, but I got some catching up to do. So
I got catching up. I only got 1 million.
Wow. I've got 14 million in the bank.
God.
Wow.
And I'm going to keep abusing the turnip market until Nintendo fixes it.
No, don't give them ideas. I need more money.
Yeah, I do think, if it were up to me, they probably should have reined in the turnip market a little bit, because it is a bit out of control with how easy it is to, after a few weeks, you can just get a ridiculous amount of bells if you know what you're doing.
Right. Well, the thing is, I don't think Nintendo kind of factored in the idea that people would share their prices on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like, I follow a ton of people who I know just post their prices. And so, I'll see somebody say, oh, give me 100,000, I'll let you sell your turnips here for 600 a piece. And I'm like, sure.
Maybe we just discovered why the online is so annoying, to keep that down.
Oh, those are where all my worst online experiences come from. Because somebody will post this on social media, and of course people will be lining up to join.
Yeah.
And then,
and
you're stuck
to get
there.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the minute you go into sell, you just constantly have that message, please close your window.
Please close. Yep.
I'm like, well, I got to make my money at some point. So you're going to, sorry, whoever's joining, you're not getting in.
But yeah, you were kind of touching on something there, Steve, with that we mentioned earlier too. That I think what really transformed this game is the fact that you can transform your island. You have so much more control over it now than ever before, and the fact that it is, it's probably purposefully such a long, drawn-out process, really does add a lot of, for better or worse, a lot of gameplay to the game. Because I'm doing something similar. Like I'm completely transforming the central part of my island to be more, as I said, I want to make a theme park, and as part of that, I'm turning my museum into basically to be Disneyland Castle. So to do
awesome.
I decided to build it up to make it look even more impressive, which means building up like this massive mound of cliffs, putting the museum on top of that. And originally I was going to do this on the original spot the museum was at, but I'm like, God, that's going to take forever because they're going to have to move it once and move it back to its original spot. So I just started transforming the area around it first and moved it to that new location. Now I'm building the cliffs around it, but on top of this, I'm doing something on the eastern side of my town too, where I'm trying to recreate a movie scene. I don't want to reveal it quite yet. It's a stupid idea, but to do so, I need to move every house. There's like 6 houses over there. I'm like, oh, God, this is going to take a week alone just to move all these houses one by one by one. And then getting back to the castle, I'm trying to build 2 ramps leading up to it to make it look a little bit more epic. And then I have a bridge leading to the ramp, so that's going to be 3 days right there just to build the bridges and ramps. So yeah, but I don't mind. Like this game is not a game that I don't think it should be sped run. I feel like
it's not fun. I can guarantee. I tried to do it.
I'm sure there are people who are doing it, and hey, they're free to do whatever they want. But I can almost guarantee you they're not having as much fun as someone who isn't speedrunning is. I think playing this game. The developers have said they intend for you to play this game day by day without time traveling. That's how I play it. That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah. So my current thing is I did keep one island from our review build, because
you have multiple switches.
Like I told. Yeah, I have multiple switches. So I have my island that I play, and that is strictly with the rules, no time travel, no cheating. And I want to put out there, if that's what you want to do, cool. I don't care. But that's I don't think it's right to shame people for how they want to play this game, especially this game. But that said, I prefer not to. But we are a media outlet, so sometimes we got to cover how-tos and crazy things and things that I don't want to do that would be detrimental to my enjoyment of the game.
Right.
Like for instance, we showed off the Nook's Cranny upgrade by time traveling. We did that. I have a throwaway island that exists for that purpose. But that being said, I prefer like you said, I enjoy the day-by-day approach to this game. I think it's really great to just, do what you can in one day, do what you want to in one day. It's probably the better way to say that. And I'm kind of excited because I feel like as the community inches towards the end of the available content, I feel like that's when Nintendo's going to say, hey, guess what? We've been holding some stuff back. Because we already know that the game is extensible. We already know that there are holiday-themed updates that are not in the current updates. Like if we go to Christmas, we're not going to find the Christmas event.
Right.
They're gonna release that later in the year. And so, obviously they've built that component into the game where they can insert new content however they want. And like you said earlier, Andre, we're seeing these kind of flags from villagers now in the 1.1.4 update where they're starting to talk about like, oh hey, Brewster. Oh hey, I was looking at art. I don't think those are leftovers.
Right. I don't either.
So I fully expect, Nintendo will, just like with their other games, they'll announce like, hey, there's an update coming to Animal Crossing that actually adds new things. Because, I'm close to having all my fossils and I haven't time traveled at all. So I do think there will be expansions specifically to the museum, and I wouldn't be surprised if we got other stuff later on. But it is interesting to see, and that might be even one of the reasons that we have something like Island Designer and so much control, because Nintendo knows, hey, we're going to add new stuff and people are going to be pissed because their island's going to be laid out already, and they're going to have to ruin it.
I mean, we've already seen more updates to this game than Mario Maker 2's gotten across a year-long period. So, which is mad, which is insane to me. But yeah, I fully expect we're going to get some big feature updates, I'm sure. Granted, the time schedule might have been affected a little bit by real-world events. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get something probably not too long, and I'm excited to see what that is, because they can just roll out. Like, the hope is that this will be like something that they continue to update, possibly for years to come. Like by now making these seasonal events, annual updates rather, or updates you download at the time that they occur. Even Easter might be different next year. It could be a whole different event. It doesn't have to be the same Easter. Yeah, exactly. Please let that bunny just wash up on your shore.
Oh gosh.
like that old image. Easter is canceled.
Yeah, but that's a fun thing. We never know what's going to be in the game now. Because in previous Animal Crossing games, after you played a year, you saw everything. Like, you knew what was going to happen, and that may not be the case now, which is fun. Yeah.
Nintendo would be insane not to add content to this game. They are benefiting from some of the best free advertising they could hope for right now. I mean, you've got mega celebrities tweeting about this game regularly.
Right.
Chrissy Teigen talks about this game almost every day. Brie Larson from Captain Marvel, she talks about this game frequently on Twitter. She even actually did some paid ad work with Nintendo on this game. Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones is talking about wanting to stream this game on Twitch. That's insane.
There is something to be said for we start seeing this with New Leaf, where it did reach a demographic far bigger than it ever had before, like reaching non-gamers really. And I mean, that's always been the case to some extent. There's a story that I think that grandmother or her grandmother's playing the games. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this is reaching, I think, unprecedented levels with a Switch. Again, I think it's a perfect storm. It's on a super hot console. They can play literally anywhere, at home or on the go. Real world events means we're all stuck indoors basically and are looking for an escape. And it's to the point where my mom, who's literally not played a single player game before, the only games she's played are Wii Sports or board games on the TV, like Virtual Monopoly or whatever. But she's not played any single player focused game. She saw a trailer for this game, was like, that looks boring. But I'm like, you know what? let's have you try it. I think you might enjoy it. So I got it for her. It arrived just a few days after the game came out, and she is hooked on this game. She's playing even more than I am on a per day basis. I think she played 5 hours yesterday or a couple days ago. She plays every day. She's constantly hitting me up with whether questions or comments about the game. It's just great that I have now something to something my mom we can bond now over something I've been living my life with, being games. Kind of like my dad did 10 years ago when I introduced him to Resident Evil 4, and he's since moved on to Breath of the Wild and Last of Us and a bunch of games. So it's so cool to see that how New Horizons is broadening the landscape once again and bringing in people who may have never played a game before.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I'm seeing it on Facebook is so impressive to me, because I don't really have a lot of local friends and family and all that who do anything to do with gaming, and to see some of them posting about it is just so surreal. It's kind of weird seeing it on Facebook, like, hey, look at my village, look at my new villager that just came in, and it's like, whoa, exactly. You guys are playing games now? Actually, people are reaching out to me now asking about my island and stuff. It's so different. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think we touched on most of the elements of the game so far.
I do want to share one story, yes.
Yeah.
So my birthday actually happened. I don't know if you guys have experienced a birthday in Animal Crossing. And that was so sweet. And I loved what they did to it. Because in New Leaf, they had a little something, but they went even above and beyond. I don't know if you guys consider this spoiler or not, so I won't go into too much detail. But I love what they did there. And I know Steve mentioned a while ago about the Nintendo online chat thing. And my friends actually, on my birthday, invited me over to their island. And they're like, hey, come on over. And it was a little bit fishy. And I was like, okay. So I went over there, and we weren't on the phone or anything. And they had the Nintendo app open. It showed me a little notification in the top. And so I turned it on, and it actually worked. I don't know if they changed anything, but it was just like we were on a call with each other. It was pretty cool. And they had set up this whole situation on the island to where it was happy birthday, Amy, and they had all these gifts, and they had signs out, and it was just so sweet. And I just wanted to throw that out there, because I just thought that being able to have that kind of experience with your friends who live far away, because they live across the country. And it was just like, oh, I love this. This is so wholesome. And it was just so sweet.
That is cute. I mean, the game is just adorable, like straight up. It's adorable across the board. My mom gets a kick out of like all the villagers. She had the experience today where she was telling me, and I haven't seen this myself yet, she was trying to get like around a tree, but in the process she ended up pushing this villager around by mistake. And the villager started yelling at her. The villager was like, "Why are you pushing me around? Will you stop?" And my mom just lost it. Like, she thought that was hilarious that they would react in that way. And I think that's what really helps too, is it seems like they kind of stepped up the interaction of the villagers this time, where they're commenting on more things, whether it's things happening on the island or things they're engaging with at that time, or even scenery they're passing by, where they'll talk about objects that you've placed in the environment, which is such a cool little touch. Like, one of them was talking about something I had in my theme park. I forget what it was, maybe the teacup ride. And I'm like, wow, that's super neat, that they're commenting on it. And you see them doing all kinds of activities throughout the day. It just really feels lively,
It does. And I love how when you give them an outfit, they actually put it on. Yeah. And if you give them a gift, it goes up in their house. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I do really like how it does feel like they've punched up how you interact with your villagers. Yeah, we have a video on the birthday, on what birthdays look like up on the channel somewhere. It's pretty old at this point. But yeah, so during the review period, I inadvertently, I just gave one of my 3 characters a birth date of March 10th. And we were actively playing, and I didn't even think about it, and I walked into it, and it is such a really nice experience. They did a really good job of making it feel kind of cozy and surprising, and just wholesome in general. There's nothing about this game that I can say makes me feel bad.
It was so sweet. And they did a good job, making it feel like your villagers do care about you. Because it feels, I don't know if this is just me, but it feels like some of my villagers, they seem to rush over to me and talk to me a little bit more than the other ones. And some of them give me more gifts than the other ones. So I feel like maybe there's a underlining, relationship level or something. Because I feel like the first ones that move in tend to talk to me the most. I don't know if it's coincidental, though, but have you guys had a villager that you really wanted on your island and you just can't find? Because I do see a couple people, upset that their very favorite villager is so hard to get.
Rover.
Yes.
In all reality, I really miss Rover. That's probably the number one thing I miss from this game. Because it is weird. You don't think about it, but Animal Crossing is at this point, a storied Nintendo franchise. We're talking about a game with decades of history now. And I mean, Rover has always kind of been the one that introduces you to the world.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he's not there and you just kind of unceremoniously arrive on a plane kind of stung a little bit. I was fully expecting that they'd show you get on the plane and you'd get on there and Rover would be on the plane.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, you never actually you never see the plane flying in the game. You just see the shadow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
So I was expecting that Nintendo was just being really coy with their pre-release stuff and hiding it. And then when I found out he just wasn't there, that was a little upsetting. But Raymond is my favorite villager. And I see tons of people, even my little sister messaged me and she's like, how do I get Raymond? Wow. I'm like, I don't think there is a how. And she's like, there isn't an amiibo for him. I'm like, nope. we tried all 400. He's not in there. So I have seen, and people are actually, there's this is really creepy, but there's a dark black market for selling villagers in Animal Crossing. You can find people offering millions of bells for specific villagers.
Wow.
That said, I thought about it, and I thought about optimizing my island for all the villagers that I wanted specifically. Because after I went through the amiibo cards, I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. This guy's kind of cool. And then I actually thought about the process of evicting one of my residents. And I was like, that just seems really cruel. I'm attached to everyone, even if I didn't initially think so. I was like, their personalities might not be the type of people I would vibe with in real life, but they're all a part of my island and I like them all now. I can't imagine getting rid of one for another.
Yeah. I've actually seen a couple people on Twitter. They're so concerned with the overall aesthetics of their island that they want specific villagers just based on the way that their house looks from the outside. So I've definitely seen where people are very obsessed of which villagers are on the island. It's quite interesting.
I can see it, because if you want that level of control, it's just, for me, I'm almost personally attached to these guys now. And
yeah. No, I hear you.
Like,
there's someone I kind of want to get rid of, but at the same time I don't, because they were there with me from the beginning, and they've been part of the island for a month now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think I may want some fresh blood in there, so that's where it gets. I think we just need to have like a battle royale type thing here to decide who stays and who goes.
See, now, I did see a tweet that I really enjoyed. Someone on Twitter ended up buying like a ton of formal wear, like tuxedos, and just gave one to every single villager so that everyone was like super fancy all the time.
That's awesome.
And I thought that was pretty great. I was like, I need to do this. That would be amazing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, one of my friends' islands, she gave everyone sunglasses, so they're wearing sunglasses constantly, even at night. It's great.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I love the custom outfits. Like, so good. You can do so much with them. And the transparent spaces on the floor maps and everything. Oh, so good.
Yeah, to the clothing part, I love the wardrobe feature now with how easy it is to swap in and out different clothing. What I hate, though, is I like the concept of the wand. I'm annoyed by how it works, though. With how you can't change anything while you're wearing an active outfit. It's a magic wand. Just let me put the clothes on me, and then let me change however I want from there, So
yeah.
But otherwise,
I feel the same. Like I want to love the wand more.
Exactly. It's just annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
If you have to unequip yourself and then change into what you want afterward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I greatly dislike it. The first time I went to the Able Sisters with the wand and realized I had to take off my wand outfit to go try something on, I was like, I'm never using this again.
That's it. So it could be improved. So hopefully, again, I think there's a lot of little quality of life issues they could improve. I'm really hoping they do, because like what they did with the Easter update and reduce the egg count. Hopefully they can better the experience of New Horizons, because some of those things are a little grating after several weeks now. Mm-hmm. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts you want to throw out there about Animal Crossing before we wrap it up?
I think the last thing I want to say, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this, Andre. Possibly you too, Amy, since I know we haven't talked as much about our experiences. But I've been playing this for a month and a half, basically, and I'm not slowing down. Tedium isn't even beginning to set in, and I honestly don't know when it will, which is really exciting. I anticipate that we could have a 2-month discussion about this, and I'll still be actively playing it every single day. Which, I mean, might be partially owed to the way the world is, but is also just a testament to the quality of the game. I'm still loving it every bit as much today as I did, 40 some odd days ago. And that's
for different reasons too, I'm guessing.
Like you said, the fact that I'm playing it now with my friends dramatically improves it. Multiplayer turned out to be mostly what I hoped for. And while there are a lot of things that I would change about the game from a design perspective, it still doesn't change the fact that I absolutely love this game. And I'm still excited every day to do some work and make some progress on my island and visit my friends and talk about what we're doing. It's become almost a staple of my daily life at this point. And that is an impressive feat for a game that hasn't super dramatically changed over the last 20 years.
Yeah, at its core, it's just this wonderful, wholesome, whimsical, great place to kind of escape the world and just be happy and be joyful. And I don't know, it's one of those games where you can just be grateful, just playing it and take your time and relax and not feel stressed and put together this plan that you have of what you want your island to look like. There's just something really magical about that. I agree with you.
I'm not bored. I'm not bored after a month yet, and I don't think I will be anytime soon, because I was doing daily journals for New Leaf. I made it to day 52, and I was definitely burned out by the end there. And we're more than halfway to this point. I'm not feeling that. I have to go back and look at my video logs to see, or vlogs to see if I could see where I started burning out. I probably hit it well. But by day 52, I'm like, all right, I cannot do this anymore. I'm tired of it. It's the same stuff day in, day out. Nothing's changing. The online kind of sucked then. Still kind of sucks, but it's really fun when it works. And yeah, I'm just having a great time. So I can easily see myself playing for at least another month, and hopefully we'll have, maybe we'll have a month 2 discussion. Probably be a little bit shorter than this one if we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hats off to Nintendo. For as many issues as the game has, the whole experience comes together in a way that no other game really does. It does something that no other game can convey this experience. So I'm willing to forgive its flaws for offering something, that is even a bit of a departure from the rest of the series. Like on the surface it looks like it's the exact same thing, but if you dig into it, you can come out with something more rewarding, I think, than previous games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll end on that note with Steve agreeing with me entirely.
Good idea. End on a good note.
Exactly. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you liked what you just watched, make sure to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. And follow us on Twitter and Facebook using the links in the description below. And Amy, do you want to tell people where they can find you at?
Sure. You guys can find me on Twitter at Bellaim, underscore at the end of Bellaim, BELLEAIM. And you can also find me on Twitch. You don't need the underscore for that one.
So, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you, maybe, for a 2-month discussion very soon. Alright, with that, we're out. Catch you guys later. Bye.